Krishna Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya Shri Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya Krishna Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya Shri Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya Krishna Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya, Jai Radhe Jaya Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe, Jai Radhe Jaya Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe Jaya Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna Jaya Krishna Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya Shri Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya, Jai Krishna Jaya Krishna Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya Shri Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya Krishna Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya, Jai Radhe Jaya Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe, Jai Radhe Jaya Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe Jaya, Jai Krishna Jaya Krishna Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya Shri Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya Krishna Krishna, Jai Krishna Jaya Shri Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jai Radhe Jaya Radhe Radhe, Jai Radhe Jaya Radhastami ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. All glories to Samadhi, all glories to Samadhi, all glories to Sri Guru Govardhana.
You don't need a book or anything.
Hare Krishna. So today, of course, we're celebrating the anniversary of the appearance of Srimati Radharani. And this is a verse from the Brihad Gautamiya Tantra. Devi Krishna Mayi Prokta Radhika Paradevata Sarva Lakshmi Mayi Sarva Kanti Samohini Para. The transcendental goddess Srimati Radharani is the direct counterpart of Lord Sri Krishna. She is the central figure for all the goddesses of fortune. She possesses all the attractiveness to attract the all-attractive personality of Godhead. She is the primeval internal potency of the Lord. Prabhupada comments that when the Supreme Lord, Krishna, wants to be attracted by a woman, he has to create such a woman from his own energy. That woman is Radharani. It is explained by the Goswamis that Radharani is the manifestation of the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the Supreme Lord wants to derive transcendental pleasure, he has to create a woman from his own internal potency. Thus the tendency to be attracted by womanly beauty is natural because it exists in the spiritual world. In Vrindavan, all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani is a tender-hearted feminine counterpart of the Supreme Whole, resembling the perfectional stage of the worldly feminine nature. Therefore, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotees, And once she recommends such a devotee to Lord Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. Lord Chaitanya's recommended mode of worship, Lord Chaitanya recommended the mode of worship preferred by the gopis of Vrindavan as the topmost loving service possible to be rendered to the Lord. And Srimati Radharani is the principal head of all such goddesses of fortune, and therefore she is the pleasure counterpart of the Lord, is non-different from Krishna. So, our movement, of course, in the line of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Prabhupada mentioned there, that Lord Chaitanya very much exhibited the mood of Srimati Radharani to Krishna, and Krishna descended as Lord Chaitanya to taste that transcendental love, that prema. His primary reasons to taste that love, and very much promoted. And so, in the line of Lord Chaitanya, of course, Lord Chaitanya instructed his principal disciples, the Goswamis, to write so many books on the transcendental rasa and the topmost position of the love of that Radha has for Krishna. So just the name Radha means one who has the best love and devotion for Krishna. So our line is like that. Lord Chaitanya, the 6 Goswamis, all the Acharyas, very much, which is very distinct even from other sampradayas who may worship Lord Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan, and Lord Nrsingadev, and so on and so forth. So our line, especially from the time of Lord Chaitanya, Madhavendra Puri before Lord Chaitanya exhibited this mood also to some degree, and to a high degree, and then Lord Chaitanya, and then so our line is like that. So it's a very special, significant, and we are very favoured. We are very fortunate to come in that line. Generally, one has his Siddha Swarup, his eternal position in rasa with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the moment it's dormant, but when one comes to the pure position, that original position is awakened. Now Prabhupada had told us, I remember, that actually due to the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, whatever our Swarup, whatever our original rasa is, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and by the mercy of Krishna, we can, that rasa can be changed to the higher position of Madhurya Ras, if so desired by the devotee and so desired by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the special benediction of the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that one can come to Madhurya Rasa. And considering the age of Kali, how everyone is so afflicted by especially the modes of passion and ignorance, and so conditioned, very difficult, in a lowly position. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, with the mood of Krishna Prema, Radharani's mood of Prema, one can come from the lowest position to the highest position. Very amazing thing. So Srimati Radharani is very, very important, and as Prabhupada says here, in Vrindavan all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani. If one wants to get the mercy of Krishna, one needs to pray to Srimati Radharani, because Lord Krishna is so affectionate to Srimati Radharani. If Srimati Radharani is favourable to the devotee, then Krishna very naturally becomes favourable to such a devotee. And here Prabhupada says that the mercy of Radharani is readily available. She is very tender-hearted. She is the feminine caste. She is very tender-hearted, and it is said that just as Krishna has unlimited qualities, and in the Nectar of Devotion we have the principal qualities of Krishna enumerated, and so Srimati Radharani has unlimited qualities also, and it is explained that 25 are principal. So here she is very sweet, very, very sweet. She is always freshly youthful. Her eyes are restless. She smiles brightly. She has beautiful, auspicious lines. She makes Krishna happy with just her bodily aroma. She is very expert in singing. Her speech is charming. When you read the exchanges between Radha and Krishna, Krishna is a very wonderful speaker. Srimati Radharani is also very wonderful, and she says very amazing things to Krishna, sometimes jokingly, sometimes in other ways. So her speech is charming. She is very expert in joking and speaking pleasantly. She is very humble and meek. She is always full of mercy. She is cunning. She is expert in executing her duties. She is shy. She is always respectful. She is always calm. She is always grave. She is expert in enjoying life. She is situated in the topmost level of ecstatic love. She is the reservoir of loving affairs in Gokula. She is the most famous of submissive devotees. She is very affectionate to elderly people. She is very submissive to the love of her friends. She is the chief gopi. She always keeps Krishna under her control. In short, she possesses unlimited transcendental qualities, just as Lord Krishna does. So, of course, when, as mentioned by Srila Prabhupada, that when Krishna wants to enjoy the feminine beauty, of course this is not ordinary feminine beauty, this is transcendental, topmost feminine beauty and feminine love. He creates Srimati Radha. So he expands in that way, and she is the representative, the pleasure, Hladini Shakti. So it is said that Krishna's expansion, of course, from the male side is Lord Balaram, his first expansion, and then the other expansion. And from the female side, it is Srimati Radharani. And then from Radharani, it is said actually the gopis are actually expansions of Srimati Radharani. And the gopis and the queens of Dwarka are expansions also of Srimati Radharani. And the Lakshmis in the Vaikuntha are also expansions of Srimati Radharani. Now it is mentioned by the Goswamis that in the queens of the Lakshmis have so much love for their husband, Lord Narayan, but the love of the queens, Krishna's queens in Dwarka, is more elevated. And the love of the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani, is considered to be super elevated. So love to elevated love to super elevated. So this is the position. And of the gopis, it is said that Chandravali and Radharani are the topmost, and of the two, Radharani is the best of all the gopis. So like that. Now it is said that in different times when Krishna appeared in this world, Radharani appeared in different ways. For example, it is said that one time she came, and when King Vrishabhanu and Kirtida didn't have any children, one time King Vrishabhanu went to the Jamuna, and as he was in the Jamuna doing the prayers and everything like that, all of a sudden 1,000-petaled lotus came floating on the Jamuna, a very beautiful lotus, and in the middle of that lotus was a little baby girl, and her legs were moving and her hands were moving like that, very, very beautiful. And he was in a kind of a meditation. The lotus actually touched him, and so he was very amazed, and so he took that baby and took that baby home and accepted her as his daughter.
So that's one description of the appearance of Srimati Radharani. Another description is that King Vrishabhanu, another time, King Vrishabhanu and Kirtida didn't have any children, and so Kirtida suggested to Vrishabhanu to go to Govardhana on the bank of the Jamuna and practice tapasya and worshipping Mother Katyayani. So he did that, and then a voice came and said that he went there and he was fasting and actually he was practicing Morna Brat. The description, he was practicing Morna Brat. He wasn't speaking, he was just fasting, meditating on Katyayani. And so, but a voice came and said, actually, your tapasyas will not be fruitful unless you receive diksha from the bona fide guru. And you should go to Kratu Munis and take diksha. And so he went to the Kratu Muni and surrendered himself to Kratu Muni, and Kratu Muni gave him one mantra to chant, and it said that mantra was Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So he went back again and practicing and started chanting the mantra. And and then Katyayani Devi, she appeared to him, very glowing, effulgent, and said, I've appeared, and what blessing can I give you? And he was very humble. He said, well, actually, now that I've had your darshan, I don't want any blessing. But she knew his heart, said, I know that you desire a child. So it is said that she gave him an oval box, a very beautiful oval box, and in that, it was like an egg, an oval egg, and in that egg was the baby. Right. Now that was another description of Radharani, how she appeared. There's a third description I've read, there may be more, but Banu Maharaj knows about, that Vindhya Parvata, the mountain, was a little bit jealous of the Himalaya, that Himalaya had Parvati as the daughter and Lord Shiva as the son-in-law, so then the Vindhya, he didn't have any, so he did tapasya, and Brahma came and said, yes, you will get a wonderful daughter, and a long story there how Radharani came, I can't remember now, just that story again now. Can you remember that story, that how, let me see, I might have it here somewhere. Oh yeah, here it is. Right, yeah. Oh, okay, here. Vindhya wanted a daughter whose husband could defeat Mahadev. He was a bit jealous of Parvati being the daughter of him, and then Lord Shiva. So he wanted a daughter that could defeat Mahadev. He performed severe. Brahma appeared, granted his desire. Vindhya was happy, but Brahma was worried, thinking, who can actually defeat Mahadev? Then he realized Krishna's pastimes were going to take place on earth, and thought only he can defeat Mahadev. If Vindhya can get Radharani as his daughter, only then can my boon be justified, because then Krishna will come. Brahma performed severe austerities to please Radharani and requested her to appear as the daughter of Vindhya Parvat. She agreed. Yogamaya arranged for the two girls, Radharani and Chandravali, who were in the wombs of the wives of Vrishabhanu and Chandrabhanu, and put them in the womb of Vindhya Parvat. So they were in the wombs already. As a result, Vindhya got two daughters who were very beautiful. In the meantime, Krishna appeared in Mathura. By the order of the Lord, Vasudeva took Krishna to Gokul and left him with Yasoda. The daughter of Yasoda was brought back to the prison cell. When Kamsa tried to kill this daughter, she rose up and said that the Lord who killed you before when you were Kalanemi has already appeared elsewhere. Furthermore, by tomorrow there will be Mahashaktis who will appear more attractive than me, and they will take birth on earth. Their names are Radha, Chandravali, Lalita, Vishaka, Padma, Sabya and Bhadra. Among these, two will be most famous for their great qualities. Whoever marries these two girls will be the most fortunate. He will also be powerful, that he will defeat Mahadev in battle. Kamsa heard this, he ordered Putana to kill the recently born male children and abduct all the newborn female children. When Putana was searching for such children, she found the two most beautiful girls. Vindhya had one Brahmana doing a samskara, an yajna for these girls, and Putana snatched them away. Vindhya ordered the Brahmana to chant mantras to kill the demon. This mantra caused Putana to become weaker and weaker. She was not able to hold both baby girls, threw one of them into the river below. Bhishma found this girl, kept her until the age of 5. By the order of Vindhya, Jabama went to Bhishma and took this girl, Chandravali, back to Chandrabhanu. And Putana was flying with the other girl. Her weakness increased, and upon reaching Braja, she fell to the ground. Purnamasi recovered the baby girl and gave her to Makara, telling her to give the girl back to Vrishabhanu because actually she is his daughter. That girl, of course, was Radharani. And Purnamasi recovered 5 other babies, Lalita, Padma, Bhadra, Sabya, and Shana. So this is the third story. And of course, there's a story before, probably most of you have read it, how Krishna arranged for his Leela to manifest and for him to come to the world and for Radharani to come to the world. You know, the story that's told in Brahmavata Purana, that in the spiritual world, Krishna was enjoying with Srimati Radharani, and she was surrounded by all her gopi friends, and they were engaged in very intimate, amorous pastimes. But then at some point, Krishna had decided to go to another gopi, who was also very, very beautiful and very affectionate to him, and he left Srimati Radharani and he went to this other gopi by the name of Viraja. And so there he was enjoying pastimes with her. And this Viraja is described as very, very beautiful, very, very affectionate to Krishna. And so Radharani noticed that Krishna had left. So, you know, and she was inquiring. Meantime, some of Radharani's friends were nearby that area where Krishna was enjoying with the Viraja, and so they came back and reported to Srimati Radharani that Krishna was there with Viraja. So Radharani became very angry. She became very angry, and she got on some very splendid chariot along with her gopis in a very angry mood, and went very swiftly to that area where Krishna was with Viraja. And so they came off the chariot and were going into the entrance, but at the entrance was Sridham, the cowherd boy, a very close friend of Krishna, and he was surrounded by, said, hundreds of thousands of his gopi friends. But of course, the Gopa friends. And of course the gopis, it is said, they numbered in the millions. So he stopped her going. She was in a very angry mood. Of course, inside, Krishna heard that Radharani was there. He just disappeared. He made himself invisible. And Viraja, when she heard the whole commotion, she was very afraid of Radharani, and so she turned herself into a river. And she became the Viraja River, a very long story. She became the Viraja River that encircles Vrindavan. And so Sridham blocked the entrance. Radharani angrily rebuked him, and just all the gopis just pushed him and all the other coward boys aside and just marched in. And so when they were looking around, she could detect, because Radharani is all knowing too, that Krishna had disappeared and made himself invisible. And she actually detected that Viraja has made herself into this river over here. So she left. And a very wonderful description of this story. And then she left and she went back, and she was very angry. She just went and was lying down and very upset that Krishna was with this other gopi. So in the meantime, Krishna, who was there, invisible, was very sorry to see that Viraja had become a river. So he called her, said, "Oh, my beloved, who are so affectionate to me, you have become a river, given up your form. Please come to me again." Now, we have to remember, in the spiritual world, all things are possible. Someone can change their form and do whatever they want. So please come to me in a form more beautiful than even before. So Viraja came back, and arose from the river in her gopi form again, more beautiful than even she was before. And so she rather enjoyed with Krishna amorous pastimes. And so much so that actually they had some children. They had some sons, as the story goes. And so Krishna was there, so they had some sons. And then Krishna was there for some time with Viraja. And so they immediately appeared. And one time she was looking after the youngest son. And then Krishna came there to be with her, but he saw that she was busy with her sons, and so he left and went back to Srimati Radharani. So she was very angry about that her sons had caused Krishna to leave her. So she cursed her younger son, go to the earth and become a body of water, become the salt water ocean. She cursed her other sons to become all the other oceans. So there's a story like that, how her sons became the oceans of the world. So she was lamenting, and meanwhile Krishna had gone along with Sridham and the Gopas back to see Srimati Radharani. But when they came there, the Gopis were at the entrance and they blocked him from coming in. And then they told that Radharani found out that he was there, and she was very upset and angry with him, and she came there and said all things against him. You know, you go, you leave me, you go with so many other lovers, you go with this other guy. Then go then. If you want to go, go. So you're a gopi who turned herself into a river. You know, you should also turn yourself into a river. Then you can associate with each other. Rivers mixing together, it's quite natural. So you become a river and she becomes a river, and so just live with her then. Live with whoever you want. So she was talking like that in a very angry mood. But she was also crying when she was saying like that. So Krishna was very, he didn't say anything, but you know, she said all sorts of things. But Sridham was very upset that she had talked to Krishna like that, and then he started to speak in an angry way, and then said, how can you talk to Krishna like that? You know, don't you know he is the Lord of all, and he is the master of all the other expansions, incarnations, all the universes come from him, everyone worships him, and how can you talk to my master like that? And then she rebuked him. What do you mean I can't talk to him like that? And your master? He's not my master as well. The whole conversation was going on. And she actually became angry and she cursed him. You are talking and like in a very demoniac way. Go and be born in the world and be a demon. And actually that Sridham, he later became that Sankachuda. There's a whole story about that too. Sankachuda and Tulsi. Tulsi's tied into this. Brinda Devi and Tulsi's tied into this story. That where he becomes Sankachuda, he marries Brinda Devi, and there's a whole story there. Married Brinda Devi, and then Sankachuda is eventually killed by Lord Shiva with the trident of Lord Vishnu, and he goes back again, and then Lord Brinda Devi actually was very wanted Krishna as her husband, and so Krishna he disguised himself as Sankachuda and went there and had intimate with Brinda Devi. So she detected, and so she was simultaneously pleased but also very angry that he had deceived her in that way. And so she cursed him. You have got a heart like a stone, so become a stone. And then he said that, well, you also will take birth. This is all my leela and pastime. You will take birth. Your body will become the Gandaki river, and your hair will become the Tulsi, and everyone will worship you. Now that's that story on the side. But then coming back to Sridham, that he was cursed to become Sankachuda, and then angrily he responded and cursed Radharani, that you have treated me this way, angrily you have treated Krishna this way, you're acting like just a human, so go to the earth and become a human. And you want to be separate from Krishna, so you will go to the earth and you will be separate from Krishna. You will be separate from Krishna for 100 years. That's where that separation came, you know, because we know that Krishna, of course, was with Srimati Radharani in the beginning, and then he went to Mathura, then he went to Dwarka. So for 100 years he was separated from Srimati Radharani. Of course, they met from time to time at the solar eclipse at Kurukshetra, and then of course at the end we know the story of how they met and how Srimati Radharani and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan went back to the spiritual world. That's where they met again at Siddha Ashram on the occasion of the worship of Lord Ganesh. And he said that actually the Leela is coming to an end. You should all go back to Vrindavan. And then he went. Part of him went back to Dwarka, and part of him went to Vrindavan. And he went there and explained everything to Radharani. And then a very transcendental chariot came from the spiritual sky. Radharani got on board. All the gopis got in their self-same bodies. Nanda decided they all got on board. Those who didn't have the spiritual bodies, they left their bodies. They all went back to spiritual world. So that story is also there. So the appearance of Srimati Radharani and the leaving of Srimati Radharani back to the spiritual world. But very interesting stories in regard to the meeting. But of course, Srimati Radharani is such a transcendental personality. I'll just read some more. You've got to notice the symbols on the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani has been put up there on the window. If you want to see, there's so many symbols on the left foot and on the right foot, and also she has the symbols on her hands as well, like that. And this is actually a definition of who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that they have on them. In the case of Prithu Maharaj's appearance, I remember reading that. They were wondering, is he a divine personality? And then when he was showing they could see the marks of the chakra and everything like that, and they can understand this. So one of the ways to know who is actually incarnation is the symbols that are on the lotus feet of these personalities. And Radharani on a right lotus foot, and on a left lotus, and on her hands as well. And Krishna, of course, same. Lord Chaitanya again. So someone can say that I am incarnation, just like Pundraka. King Pundraka, you know that story in the Krishna Lila. He said, I am the incarnation. He challenged Krishna. You are saying you are the Vishnu, I am the Vishnu, and he challenged him to a fight, but actually, he didn't have any of the signs of the Lord. So Srimati Radharani is very transcendental, and there's more description. Among all the beautiful gopis, Srimati Radharani is the best. Radharani is the queen of Vrindavan. She has many famous friends headed by Lalita and Vishaka. Srimati Radharani's rival is Chandravali. Among Chandravali's friends, such as Padma, Shama, Shaba, Bhadra, and so on, there are many. Beautiful gopis may be considered in hundreds of groups. Each group contains hundreds of thousands of gopis. Among all these gopis, the most important are Radharani, Chandravali, Bhadra, Shama, Palika. And of all the gopis, Radharani, Chandravali are the best. And each of them has millions of doe-eyed gopi followers. Because she possesses all charm and sweetness, Srimati Radharani is the better of the two. She is supremely famous. She is known as Gandhava Devi. Sri Krishna, who is the coward prince, whose charming sweetness is no equal superior, is very dear to Radharani. She considers him millions and millions of times more dear than her own life's breath. So a lot of different descriptions of Srimati Radharani in the various shastras, and the different types of gopi friends of Srimati Radharani. She's always manifested as a fresh youth, 15 years of age, full of the luster of youth. I was just looking for a certain section here. Of course, of her gopi friends, there are 8 principal gopis. One is, who can say who is one of the principal gopis? Who? Lalita. And who is another principal gopi? Vishaka. And another principal gopi?
No,
that's on the Chandravali side. Sudevi. Rangadevi. Induleka. Champakalada, and Tungavidya. Very good. So Lalita, Vishaka, Suchitra, Champakalada, Rangadevi, Sudevi, Tungavidya, Induleka. Of course, when you go to Sri Mayapur, you can see, you can hear obeisances to each of the gopis there. These gopis are considered the leaders of all the others. So many. And then Srimati Radharani has her Manjari friends. And who are some of the Manjari friends of Srimati Radharani? Rupa Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, Rasa Manjari, Ananga Manjari, Vilas Manjari, Prema Manjari. Actually, listed here: Mani Manjari, Suvana Manjari, Kama Manjari, Ratna Manjari, Kasturi Manjari, Gandha Manjari, Netra Manjari, Sri Padma Manjari, Leela Manjari, Hema Manjari are among Srimati Radharani's Manjari friends. Now, it is mentioned here that the different levels of their Shakis and Priya Shakis and Prana Shakis and Paramapeshta Shakis. All the different level of intimacy and closeness to Srimati Radharani. All these different Shakis, all these the gopis are. So many wonderful stories. Banu Maharaj will say some more a little bit later on in the morning. There's one little pastime that I'll just finish with. That one time Krishna was with the cowherd boys, and then a new cowherd boy all of a sudden came there. Actually, this new cowherd boy, his name was Priyatama. And actually, this cowherd boy was Srimati Radharani in disguise. And she wanted to test Krishna's love for her. So she came to the cowherd boy, and she went there, and the cowherd boy was very handsome. Krishna was automatically attracted to him. Started talking with him, and invited him home to for lunch. And he came home, and Mother Jasoda cooked some nice lunch, and they were talking. And as they were talking, Priyatama, who was Srimati Radharani, was just asking different questions, and so tell me, so do you have someone that is like a marriage prospect, like that? Do you have someone who's a marriage prospect? And Krishna says, well, my only beloved is Srimati Radharani. She is my object of love and worship, and is Srimati Radharani. And the Priyatama, who was Srimati Radharani, said that, I've heard some not so good things about that girl. I don't think she's really. I think you can do better. I think you can do better. And so actually, I just don't know that I have I have a friend, and their parents want their daughter married. And actually, I have an introduction letter here, and that I actually came searching you out because I have this introduction, and the parents have thought that you would be a very good match for their daughter. And she is very wonderful. And Priyatama gave all description of this girl, and so she gave the letter, or Priyatama gave the letter. So Krishna was ready. He said, no, and he tore up the letter and threw it away. He said, no, I can't think. When I go out in the morning, I'm thinking of Radharani. While I'm out there, I'm thinking of Radharani. My worship is Radharani. My love is Radharani. I come back, I can't think of anyone else. And so Priyatama said, well, it seems that you have so much devotion for this girl. Is very unbelievable. But she was pleased, as Radharani was pleased, but she wanted to test him more. So she said, actually you have so much love, it should be that, if you sat in meditation, by the power of your love, she would just appear here. Wouldn't that be so? It should be like that. And Krishna said, well, yes, that's a very good idea. I'll go in meditation, and she will come, you'll see. So then he went into meditation, and then Priyatama Radharani, he just disappeared. And then Krishna was seeing like that. And then when he opened his eyes, he saw that Radharani was not there. Priyatama had gone, Radharani was not there, so he was very disappointed Radharani didn't appear. But then when he looked at himself, he saw that his form had changed into a feminine gopi form that sold bangles. Because he had this, like, all of a sudden this was a basket of bangles, and he wore bangles, and, you know, he was dressed like a hawker. So he thought that this must be some Leela. That perhaps the Yoga Maya, of course he knew everything, but there's some Yoga Maya Leela. So then he decided, well, all right, then I'll go to Radharani in disguise myself as this hawker. She won't come here, I'll go there and test her. You know, so and so he went and he was selling his bangles on the way, but no one was, because they were very beautiful, very, very beautiful bangles, but very expensive. And so he came, and as he was coming closer to where Srimati Radha Lalita came there, and he was calling out, anyone come to want to buy these bangles? They're very beautiful bangles like that, and the whole basket, everything. So Lalita came, oh yeah, they're very beautiful bangles, but you know, they look very kind of fine and small, and they're also very expensive. Oh well, that's because they're high quality, you know. You know, what would all you people around here know about high quality bangles, you know? And then Lalita said, well, that's no way to sell your bangles if that's how you're going to treat the customers. And said, but no one around here could actually even fit these bangles on, you know, maybe, and what to speak of afford them. And maybe there's one, my Swamini, my Radharani, maybe she might be interested, maybe she would take them. So she took Krishna in the disguise of this hawker to where Srimati Radharani. And so as he came close like that, and then Radharani came there, and then she touched the bangles. She first of all looked at the bangles in the basket, and then she touched some bangles that were already on the wrists, like that, and they both froze. They both froze, like that. She froze, and he froze. They were just looking at each other in like a trance. Right, and then all the gopis were wondering what's going on, what's happening. And then protruding in the back of a sari somewhere, she saw a flute and a peacock feather. And then they said, this is Krishna in disguise, tricking us again. This is Krishna, this is Krishna, this is Krishna. And so then when they were when all the gopis started calling like that, both of them came to the consciousness. And they were laughing and happy and everything like that. So that's a beautiful story I was just reading yesterday in regard to the meeting. Now I've heard that also when Radharani was born, she was born that the parents thought that she couldn't see, she was blind. Have you read that anyway? She was blind. Have you read that? That she was blind, and when she came to Krishna's birthday, the first birthday, then when the two babies were crawling on the ground, it was only then that she opened her eyes and she saw Krishna. Right? You read that? Yeah. That actually she was like, they took her back and she was like blind. They could see that this girl's not saying anything, you know. She's blind, and then but still they loved her and everything like that. But it was later on. And it's explained, I think the acharyas were explaining, yes, because she had eyes only for Krishna. So she didn't want to see anything else before she saw Krishna. But then when the babies were playing and they met, then she opened her eyes again like that. They're very, very beautiful stories. So, Srimati Radharani ki jai, Shri Radhastami ki jai, Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. So we'll stop there, and because we've got the swing festival in just an hour's time, starting at 9:30. Hare Krishna.